Welcome back to Age of Empires 3 100% Opinionated Civ Review, as today we are reviewing the Russian faction in this game. As you can imagine, is in every single case, they rely on spamming a bunch of shit at your face. So let's begin the reading. The Russians specialize in violence with a wide range of units. They have the cheapest units in the game, so they are more dependent on numbers than anything else. 4 in rushing, 3 in booming, 4 in turtling. Royal Guards, Grenadiers, and Cav Archers. Called the third hardest to play. Blockhouses. The Russians can build a blockhouse, a special building that doubles as a barracks and an outpost. They're also available from Age 1, which means they can send attack earlier than anyone else. Plus, with the building's rate of fire, they are also anti-rush too. Settlers in groups. Normally, settlers must be built one at a time. Russians, however, can build them in groups, provided they can afford it. This allows them to get their economy moving early. Fewer settlers, more resources. To offset the group training, Russians start with fewer settlers, but more resources and other civilizations. Strelets. The Strelet is the weakest, cheapest unit in the game. If you've played StarCraft, they are the equivalent of the Zerglings. They can't do much damage, but you can easily make a ton of them, and just send them on their merry way to the enemy colony. At worst, this will highly disrupt the enemy. Cossacks. The famous Cossacks. A unit similar to the Hussar, Cossacks have no range, but good speed. They must attack in melee, and they're weak, which is a bad combination. Still, they're cheaper than the Hussar and easy to create. Opriknik. Another unique Cav unit. The Oprikniks should be used as the first wave of attacks, unless you're specifically rushing Strelets. These guys have good hit points and attack damage, but they also do bonus damage against buildings and settlers, disrupting the economies of some civilizations such as the Dutch or Ottoman, leads to their downfall. Indeed. Against the Russians. Russians are tough to gauge, but once you figure out what they're doing, they can be taken fairly easily. When outnumbered or even numbered, Russians will fall due to their unit's inherent weakness. Your best friend here is the explorer, who can and should scout the Russians early to see what they're putting their resources into. Once you figure out what to counter, you should be able to train an army to hurt them. Now, if they're turtling, you'll need siege engines because of those bloody blockhouses. Just those buildings alone will defeat a rush of units only, so they must be taken down first from a distance. Doing so will cripple their ability to produce units, so it's a good idea anyway. Because they depend on numbers so greatly, taking their houses will cripple them worse than anything. So, what do I think of the Russians? I don't really use them. I have never really used them that much. I used it as a meme once. I'm going to give them a C+, because they're not my favorite. They're still not quite as bad as the fucking Ottomans, but they're just not something I would use, honestly, based on this information and my experience with just spamming units. I'd rather have good units than just a bunch of trash. I think it requires less planning, because you don't have to manage your hundreds of units who are trash, and you can just, build a proper army, someone with actual skill. So a C+, please leave your opinion in the comment section below, and I'll be back next time with the final civilization, the old school Spanish. I'll see you then. Peace.